Everybody knows low tier God. Uh, his notoriety has increased over the years. He's become very well known, but in his estimation, he feels he's become less and less respected. But personally, as somebody who I watched the earliest stages of his channel, not the very beginning, because I was watching other channels and earlier on, but I became aware of his channel uh, a decent amount of years ago. So I did see the transition to where he was a Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3 player. In my opinion, he's actually a very good Street Fighter 4 player. Underrated. Actually, I think that if he had the mentality there, I could see him having gone far in Street Fighter 4. But I know with Street Fighter 5, a lot of people were turned off to the game in general, as far as playing competitively.
The Anniversary Edition?
No, like the Street Fighter 5, the latest installment of Street Fighter.
Oh.
But that turned a lot of people off to the game because of the changes. I personally am not totally turned off to it. I think that it's still playable, but at the same time, I see people's argument with the fact that it kind of allows people that don't have skill to dominate. I think Smash suffers from that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why I don't hear more complaints about that. But the bottom line is that he, I feel like he's become a lot more negative towards his supporters, which is just weird because I actually became somebody that was kind of supportive of his channel. And I like the merchandise he sells and I like the content that he has, but the people that used to troll his channel, I think they started to have too much importance to him. And so he used to do a lot of positive things. I remember he did some clothing giveaways and he used to have positive themes and discussions at times on his channel. And he just conducted himself in a more balanced manner. And then it's like over the years, you just see the trolls just get to him. And now he's just become this really volatile, super vulgar type dude that, he jumps at the lightest statement. And it's like, dude, because personally, I say this as a rager myself. It's documented. It's known I'm a rager. I rage and I flip out on games. But I don't let my positivity get killed. I don't let myself become like a overall bitter dude because of detractors. Yeah, there's always going to be negative detractors and people that just try to get a rise out of you. Because I've seen them, troll him on his channel and they make their troll videos and whatnot. And I agree that that's not right. But you can't sit there and let that change the whole way that you are.
Yeah. Because from what I heard was that he was actually giving more love to his haters than more than his fans, which doesn't make any sense. Why would somebody do that? Is that one of those things where draw your friends close, but your enemies closer? I'm sorry, but that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
It's the other way around, buddy.
That's not how it works.
I'm sorry, because for me, if I was doing my own thing, I would be with my supporters. I would try to understand them, read their texts, read their comments. And he has to understand. Exactly. These people are doing it for their time. They're giving him the love and support. It's not like, oh, well, you have to give me this. No, they don't have to. They could be doing and giving support to other channels and other people that appreciate them. You ever thought about them?
And at a certain point, they really should, because, you can't let that, because in a sense, you're letting your detractors win. Because if I'm going to sit there and I'm going to become bitter and all the negative things that people that troll his channel say about him,
right,
really, they used to be false. And I used to, even at times, I would comment on some of these videos and say, something? I said, I personally know, seeing his personality type, that's not the type of dude that he is. He's the type of dude that shows that he has some type of an upbringing, some type of moral values to him. Even when it comes he seems to be somebody that has a spiritual side to him that he showed in the past. All of that, his detractors used to say the negative, and I would sit there and say, nah, you guys are not really being accurate. you're trying to just trolling him, because I've seen proof positive that's not the case. But then over time, he starts to become what they're calling him. So you're letting your detractors win.
Yeah.
You're becoming every negative thing that they say about you, you're now feeding into it, and you're becoming. Why would you do that? You know?
And I think for me, from what I can analyze on it, is that it's getting the better of him. You know, you can't. And I'm gonna say this: don't let haters get the better of you. Don't, because they don't have any of the fame or any shine that that you got, because they'll try to put you down and do everything because they're not too happy, or they're jealous of what you got. Basically. And that's one of those things where you just have to positively reinforce yourself and think about the people who really do care about you.
You gotta think about it, exactly.
And you have to really distinct between who's a troller and who's the fan.
I think also that had an effect, not in the exact same way, but to some extent with Mike Ross. Well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mike Ross. He was like a commentator. He was also a YouTuber for the Street Fighter community for many years. And they had a show, which to me, I believe that when it comes to Emmys and when it comes to awards that they give for shows, I think Excellent Adventures should be up there. Like, to me, I don't care what platform, if it's an indie or a major platform, when a show does that good of a job at like captivating an audience for that many years, there should be a reward for that. Because honestly, yeah, it's a YouTube show. It's not mainstream. It's not covered by a huge network.
Right. But
effectively, that was one of the most entertaining shows for many, many, many years. Many years. Excellent Adventures held it down. But with Mike Ross, you know, he was a staple of that show for years, and they did a really good job. But I watched him too. It's like over the years, the issues that he had with esports and other negative entities that he was dealing with, he let that change his character until eventually he couldn't take it anymore. He felt like he was being crowded out, and then he just exited the scene. And I'm like, dude, the things that drew people to you, don't kill that off because of the negative things that you experienced.
Right.
So then he just recently came back, and you know, he was on another episode of the show after like several years in seclusion. But I'm like, bro, you don't want to destroy the things about you that are good because of the negative things you experience. That's just the take home point that I was just trying to emphasize, because I've seen it happen with these people, and I've never let it happen with me. And, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just important.
Mile or raid.
In the moment, anything could happen. You know you have to be ready. The world is on the edge, pulling at the thread, hanging on the ledge, but never staying the same. You dominate the end. There's so much to do with so limited time. You will understand one day, my sunshine. Now it's back to mathematics, back to verbal elastic, and expression of pain some time and all of this rapping. So much death in a moment, so much life in a moment. Discriminate from the future, live a life of atonement. Magnum opus, less is for locator. Each moment that holds a promise I'm looking for. Great works are hidden, intent to remain silent. Great men are tortured and born out of defiance. These circles produce perpetual wall blindness and true behind poetic lines. That is all science. When your Mona Lisa smiles, will they be embarrassed? I take stabs at your artistry and like a balance. I've seen so much, mastermind the clutch. All this beautiful fruit was too golden to touch. Give me water, water, water. Flowers are growing up. I depict them honestly, ambitious and such. Something about a picture. Somewhere I saw the same. Somewhere read I will be free in front of a name. So much love for a poet. Something about a wall. Every day we build fences. Summer before. The digits of my quarter birth puts me among masses with no work. A young hand hungers for one. 4 lands, 4 loves, 4 loves, and 4 pages of typical dissertation and deposition. That I must get on is Shenmue. I'm sorry, but Shenmue, I need to give a shout out to you, Suzuki, that if I see you in the streets, I'm a rock you, my dude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I see you, Yu Suzuki, on the streets, it's over. We waited 17 years, my dude. 17 years we waited for Shenmue to be continued. I still remember.
That's crazy. That's even more years. That's one more year than Banjo-Kazooie on Smash. And it's not even a character. This is like a game.
It's a game. I remember buying the import version of Shenmue 2. I had the American and the import version. I was part of the campaign for Shenmue. I was part of 2 official Shenmue campaigns in petition groups that had like websites and everything for ever since 2. Like going back to the mid 2000s, I was part of those movements. I kind of pulled away from it. Like I would say, like maybe 3 years ago or so. Like not long before the Fool finally came out and announced Shenmue 3, I kind of pulled back because I figured, you know what, we're wasting our time because we had like initiatives going where we were even trying to contact him to see if he would approve us putting together an indie project, which he wouldn't want to do that either. And we said, okay, can you do a spinoff? Can you do something? There was even some rumors of a Shenmue Online coming out that was going to be like some online game. None of that came to fruition. And so we figured, okay, it's over. Like, it's not going to happen. And then he comes out of nowhere at E3, I think it was 2018, that, I've decided to release Shenmue 3. You know, and everybody's all forgiven and forgotten. I'm like, dude, to me, he's a snake. Because if the whole release of Shenmue, what we'll do is we'll take a brief. Okay, so the thing is, one of the things that was said about Shenmue from the very beginning of the project was, at the time, because it came out in 1999, Shenmue, budget-wise, was one of the most expensive or the most expensive video game project up to that point in video game history. Because they used revolutionary technology. They did a lot of things for the first time. The graphics engine was crazy. It was on a state-of-the-art system, the Dreamcast at the time. So there was a whole budget thing where it said, well, to do a project or to continue that or do a project like that again would require massive amounts of support and money, which according to Yu Suzuki, he didn't really have. So then eventually they do release Shenmue 2, which covers chapters 2 through 4. The whole of Shenmue, I believe, is 12 chapters long. He had the whole series written out before he even made the first game. The first game covered chapter 1. The second game covered chapters 2 through 4. Then he had the rest later to come out. And his stance was he felt that the support wasn't there. And so he didn't want to continue the game. So then we have these petition groups where we come together, and over the course of the next decade, we prove to him that there was a support there. There is a community of us all here that want Shenmue 3. These are people that didn't even think with respect to the series like that are notable people that know of the series and want to see it continue. So over the years, we disproved that nonsense that he kept talking about, that there wasn't support. That was an excuse he was hiding behind. So then, even though we petitioned and said, can we do it? He still said no. Now, after playing with us, you say, okay, you know something? I am going to release it. I decided that I want to finish the game. Now, if your initial argument of budget issues and support issues and not having the revenue to finish is there, then why wouldn't you finish it with this next game? Why wouldn't you do chapters 5 through 12 and finish the whole series with this next game and make it one big title and save your money? But no, he says, no, I'm gonna drag this out and I'm gonna make several Shenmue games over the next X amount of time. Meaning that it's not about budget. It was about screwing us and about the fact that he didn't care enough to continue the series even though we were begging for it. That's scumbag to me. Because think about it. The money that it's going to take for him to go into the project, he already had to do a Kickstarter for this next one, which took him a bunch of money, a bunch of time to amass the funds to do it. But he got the support, which he claimed he didn't think he had. And so the Kickstarter was a success. So now you got to do that again and again and again to finish the series. Why would you take that gamble if you were so worried about money? That's why, like I said, I don't respect Yu Suzuki. Everybody else is like they're blinded like a deer in headlights when it comes to him. To me, I just see a scumbag who doesn't care enough about his fans. If I met him, I'm not going to be starry-eyed. I'm going to make him see stars. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a series that I want to see the end of it. One of my main concerns has always been, is he going to change it too much? Shenmue represents something that to me is so far from today's standards. Today's addiction to demons and gore. It's so far from that. It's such a pure story about a Japanese boy who wants to track down and hunt down the killer of his father and figure out why he did it. What you find out in the first couple of games is that his father actually killed the villain's father. And so there's more to the story than he initially thought. So he's trying to uncover why his father did that and kept it from him and how did all this happen. So he's going on a journey trying to uncover all of this along with the secrets of the artifacts that his father was hiding that his father brought back from China. So all this stuff you're trying to figure out. And he's a martial artist who has a passion for martial arts. He's learning from different masters over the course of the game. And to me, that premise is so pure that to be honest with you, it doesn't have any place in today's world. I don't see today's gaming industry even really appreciating that story. So my fear is like, are they going to change? Is he going to change it? Is he going to go back over the story that he already wrote in the 90s and start to adjust it to appease the gamers of today? That's my fear. Because if he does that, I don't want any part of the series. But he might be forced to for support because you have all these people that'll probably say, you know what? Unless you incorporate the stuff that we like in the game, we're pulling out support. And so you might say, okay, you know what? I don't want to lose this support. So let me put in some demo stuff and put in some gore, and then maybe insert some LGBT in there as well. Mm-hmm. He might do it. Things up. He might have to do it. He might have to.
And it's sad for certain things and like certain companies. It's like same equivalents to Nintendo. They were doing so well over the years, but now because of mostly, and I'm gonna say this, millennials. Because the millennials have dragged down Nintendo since, I want to say 2010, because that's when everything was starting to plummet down. 2009, it was sort of uprising, but 2010, it was rising to a high standard. And then afterwards, from 10 to now, the millennials got their hands on every single game.
Total change. There's certain that's so true, because there's certain things that Nintendo took a stance that they would never kind of, when it came to the type of games, not only the type of games that they released, but the way they handled their game releases. And when it came to the way they inserted themselves into the online community, Nintendo was very firm. No, it's over here. Nintendo was always very firm on their stance. And like you said, since that date, their stance has shifted. Mm-hmm. They've kind of like said, you know what? Okay, let's give in now. And you've seen just the whole thing change. Like Nintendo's just become a totally different. Also, you gotta remember too, that's the death of the presidents. Yes. Because I wasn't a fan of Nintendo's last president. I feel like he was a little bit off.
Speaking of presidents, did you?
But their previous president, he was a guy that really held down the core values of Nintendo. President Yamauchi. Mm-hmm. When he died and Satoru Iwata took over, there was a drastic change then. Mm-hmm. And then after he passed, then things plummeted even further, because then now you don't have anybody at the helm that can say, you know what? No, we want to stay pure to our roots. Yeah. When those people die off, then you have nobody left to protect the integrity of the company. Exactly. So now, like you said, the millennials come in, they take over everything that they want. These I never thought Nintendo was going to be big on patches and updates. Yeah. That's one of the things that disgusts me about video game industry now, is that you play a game and every freaking day or every couple of days, there's patches and updates and there's changes to the game for absolutely no reason. But now Nintendo's bought into that crap now.
It's like you purchase the game, you just want to enjoy the game, enjoy the creativity of what they have made.
Exactly. And it's a totally different game within a month.
Like it's understandable if we have 3 or 4 updates. That's understandable. We don't need multiple amount of updates every day.
Exactly.
Like, for goodness sakes, how many updates do we need? Do we need 10 on one day? Do we need 7 on another day?
Thank you.
Like, we need to calm it down. I understand a game may need some updates to boot itself up. I understand it, or to fix itself.
Exactly.
I understand to fit within the program of the system.
That was the original
that.
intention of updates.
And like you were saying before, as we were talking about this, and it was about how before, when they had system updates for the computer and everything, it was only specific for whatever would adapt to the system.
What issues were needed exactly?
Yeah.
Now that's where I say, okay, I'm not totally against it from principle standpoint, because yes, when updates first came out, even if you go back, I remember you don't even have to go that far back. You could go back to like the 360. Like I would say that was like I would say somewhere in the mid 2000s, somewhere before 2009 or whatever. Like when updates first started, they were a major thing. It used to be you had a system, you had a game. And then when patches and updates were first incepted in the very beginning, it was like a huge event that was announced far in advance, and you had a complete outline of all the fixes that were coming with this update. And everyone waited for it and had to sit down for like a several hours to wait for the download of the patch to finish. And it was a big thing where your whole system, your whole game got a facelift, and you saw visible differences. And it was a major change that was necessary, that fixed a lot of problems and gave you a lot of features that you didn't have before. Mm-hmm. That's what updates used to be. Right. And it used to be one and done, or one in a blue moon. Then over the years, all of a sudden now, an update is like a blink. It's like you come home, or you turn your device on and you get a notification, oh, your system has to perform this update. This game has just been updated. We need to download the update patch, which consumes memory.
Right.
So this freezes your system up. Then you spend the next X amount of minutes waiting for the download to finish. You turn the game on. There's no visible change to the game.
Right.
There's nothing, no visible benefits or improvements to the game. If anything, things that have been made worse.
Exactly.
And it's forced on you on a constant daily basis.
Right.
And what I was telling somebody the other day is I feel like they do it because they want to keep programmers employed. Like, I don't know if because of the economy that programmers are having trouble like working or having steady work. So they figure, you know what? Let's make updates a mainstay thing where we just update everything all the time.
Right.
Because then we have an excuse for you guys to occupy these chairs and occupy these jobs.
Right.
I feel like that may be the motive behind it.
Also, we're living in a society where technology has been introduced, and so we have a lot of techies out there, I should say, that love their updates and love things, and they're very.
That's true.
It seems like they're very attracted to updates and new technologies within a system. Even
if there's no visible benefits to it, I mean, I guess maybe they see benefits. I don't know.
It's a weird thing. Like, it's a world that I like. Somebody would have to really delve down and really understand why they would love it so much. But before and now, another thing I wanted to say was about this new president. Now, from what I heard, there's another new president that came on. His name is Bowser. Now, I don't know.
Nintendo has another new president now?
Yeah, I think, yeah. His name is Bowser. And
That's a joke.
He's if you have not seen it, there's a trailer on there. Just type in Bowser, Nintendo's new president or something, or some part of the
now
Nintendo.
Is he the American CEO president like Reggie Phil Ames was, or is he like the actual the Japanese president of the actual overall company?
The first one you said.
Oh, he's the American. He's like Reggie's. He has Reggie's position. Then.
Yeah, something like
I think I might have heard something about that. Not to say that's not an important position. That is an important position because that person does create a lot of innovations and control a lot of what happens. But I mean, you're just going to see worse and worse stuff come out. I mean, it's sad to say, but we're just in a generation where the next generation, they're more and more ridiculous. So, you seen him?
Yes. This is.
He looks like Satoru. I mean, he looks like
he's an exclusive over.
He looks like the Smash Brothers creator. I'm forgetting his name now. Sakurai, whatever his name is. young guy. Interesting trailer. Very interesting trailer. He looks like a bit of a stiff. It's all right. So that's him. I get it. Now, I mean, we'll see what the future holds. It's just really amazing.
Yeah. People are having interesting questions, like if he's the new president or something like that. But we may not know until further in the future.
So let us see coming in the future what this will mean.
Before we end this, I have one thing to say, and it was a big question. I said this in the car. Why is Banjo-Kazooie so necessary on Ultimate Smash? I don't understand. Like everybody's raving about it. Yeah, I understand you always wanted it, but why? Where's the origin within that? Why are you so keen to have one?
I think the question that you're asking is actually deeper too, because I was just about to say we kind of covered the fact that he was this anticipated dude, but I think you're going deeper into like the core, like the underlying reason of why it is such a big deal personally for him, which is a good key question, because I believe I've asked that same question when it comes to King K. Rool a little bit, and also when people were talking about Waluigi or some other characters like that. Because my thing is this: they did a poll before Smash Ultimate came out, talking about characters that people feel like they connect with more, and they're more predisposed to playing. And the feedback that they got on that was really disturbing to me, because when they polled males and females to see which type of characters they like, I find it odd that like the manly characters that you would think that guys would more be predisposed to liking, they were at the bottom. But like the weird androgynous feminine kind of wonky characters were the characters that the men, that they just said the men were actually preferring to play, which I found to be very telling. That's why I think kind of attests to like the weird character selections and the outcry for certain characters, because I'm not against Banjo. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a cool, balanced character. But I remember when King K. Rool came out or was announced, I said, why is King K. Rool excite everybody so much? Yeah. Like everyone, I kept hearing everywhere I went, oh, it's the character design. He's just so cool. And I'm like, what makes him so cool? He's a sloppy, fat, ugly, disgusting looking character. Why does he appeal to male players so much? I noticed that's different from back in the day. Back in the day, in my era of gaming, men pick, because at the end of the day, it hasn't changed. You pick characters that you relate to and that you feel like you can convey yourself through. That has not changed.
Right. I
think who people relate to has changed, because back in the day, a character design like Cloud, maybe like Ike, even Snake, like as far as the design goes, Captain Falcon, Ganon, those type of characters appealed more to male characters because they have a cool factor to them.
Right.
But I found that over the years, it's like they appeal less and less to guys. Like most dudes don't even play those characters now, because it's almost like they don't relate to them as much. For you to discard characters like that and you like characters like King K. Rool, I've always asked, like, what is appealing about this guy? He's not cool. He's not that cool. He's a sloppy, fat, disgusting looking character. It's very disturbing that they love him so much. You know, it's like it's just very weird to me. But now I think it's just very revealing as to what, where people are at. Yeah. I really do. I've never understood that.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, King K. Rool, and I agree the same thing, but I think he's kind of interesting. He does his skin and his graphics.
He doesn't have zero interest to me.
Yeah.
I just don't see him as somebody character design wise.
Yeah.
That should be obsessed over to that extent.
Right.
Because put it this way,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like Snake's overall moveset design much. I don't really gravitate to his moves, but character design, that's more so how I would want my character to look. You want your character to look masculine. You want your character to look as if they're manly. This whole thing where all of a sudden everybody kind of relates. Like that's why you see like more all female fighting games coming out, because now that's what guys want to play. They want to play female fighting characters, female cast, and it's not about being chauvinistic. It's just as a guy, there's something that you're gonna connect to with male characters naturally.
Yeah.
That's just never it should change. Like for this whole switch to where guys want to play girl characters is to me is just very sus. It's very sus.
I mean, me.
But that's a topic for another day. Let me curtail this episode before it's 2 hours long. And we'll see you on another episode of the Jokatech Podcast. Take care.
Yo, this is dedicated to all the poets out there. Please believe. Let's get 'em. Like life, I move like spice, I'm hot, ready to go. And me, uncontrollable, my gamma radiation flow. Burn punks in situations, thus punks and punctuations. You degenerate generations, just a no confrontation. You puff fly, while I puff money and stacks. Tax my bunny back, split down the middle like cracks. Plus the interest I gain from investments. You gain interest from blue shirts, guns cocked, ears locked, without presence. And I don't need it for waste, the whole weight money I earn. Spread my cash like ashes, you burn in the urns. I master the flow like the old man, taming the sea. Mind so captive by metaphors and similes. I take expense, set offense, and I lay none of the rest. I get mine when it's time, no more bright tomorrow.